As soon as her mother said those words, she turned around and left. Ophelia had planned to give a response to whatever she said, but this thing she heard had shut her up completely. She was dumbfounded. She had hoped she would come to the gazebo to cry. No, there were no tears, because her mother had given her the news that had shocked her to her core. She was still trying to understand what her mother was saying. Did she mean she was getting married in a few days? Truly? Oh, how can I get married in a few days? I have neither a boyfriend nor anybody at all. So maybe she meant she was arranging a marriage for me, Ophelia said to herself. Honestly, she was living in denial of what she actually heard. She did not mishear what her mother said. Every word was clear to her. She was giving herself reasons why it couldn't be what she heard. She got up from the gazebo seat and headed for her car. She wasn't going to stick around to hear any more surprising news. She got into her car and realized that she didn't have the key with her. She had dropped it on Jeanette's dresser, so she returned to her sister's room. But when she got there, her sister was not there. She saw her keys on the dresser and took them. She got into her car and left the mansion premises. On her way to her apartment, she was still thinking about all the possibilities that could have led to her mother agreeing for her to get married in a few days. What kind of arrangement was this? And who was she to get married to? Was this one of her mother's plans to humiliate her again? The thoughts kept swirling in her head. She was trying to piece together reasons why her mother would do such a thing. Did she hate me that much? Was she so desperate for me to get married? She said to herself as she honked abruptly at a driver who couldn't drive fast enough. She was never a rough driver. She was a good driver with no parking tickets, but today her brain had been turned inside out. Her heart was racing because of these things. It was her mother's last words that really stood out to her. Get prepared to get married in a few days, her mother said. In a few days was the key phrase that stood out to her. Even Jeanette wasn't getting married in a few days. How can I get married in a few days? I think my mother has gone insane, she said to herself loudly in the car. In a few minutes, she was turning into her apartment car park. She got out of her car and headed for her apartment. As she walked, she searched for the keys in her bag. You know, this is a very good day to get drunk because this kind of news just doesn't slide. How am I supposed to sleep with this kind of news? She's basically saying that my freedom has been taken away from me. I can't marry someone I do not know. No, I will not, she said to herself as she unlocked her door and got in. She headed for her cabinet where she had a bottle of whiskey. She took her wine glass and poured some in it. She guzzled it down and headed for the bathroom. What does she expect me to do now? To just go ahead and marry somebody that she chooses for me? No, I will not, she said as she prepared to take a shower. When she was done washing her hair and taking a bath, she came out and got ready for bed. She thought by the time she got to bed she would sleep off immediately, but that was not the case. This matter was stronger than any whiskey. It was like the sleep had traveled from her eyes and was replaced with distress. She was still too young to get married in her own eyes. Why will her mother force her to? Throughout the night, she tossed and turned on the bed until it was 3 a.m. When her alarm rang for her to prepare for work, she couldn't believe she didn't even get a wink of sleep because of this matter. Gradually, she went to the bathroom to prepare for work. At least by 5 o'clock, she should be at her office. She did her normal morning routine, picking out a skirt suit and putting it on her bed. She went to shower, and when she was done, she rolled up her hair into curls, leaving them to cascade over her shoulders. For someone that did not sleep very well, she looked good. In no time, she was out the door and headed for her office. A few minutes later, she was walking into her office building. Today, she was going to check if certain deliveries were made to the various clients. She was also going to check for products that needed to be upgraded or restocked. This was the fun part of her job, and she was so happy to do it today. As she came into this section of the office, not many people were around. In fact, none were around except her. She settled in and started working immediately, sorting out one thing or the other. It was easy to find out when people started walking in. Of course, the whispers started as well. What is she doing so early at work? She's hoping to get promoted, right? One said, laughing. She does not know she wouldn't get promoted. You know, one of the managers told me last night, she heard another lady say. From there, they started talking about what happened last night. She shook her head at the fact that everything she had heard about what was going on in this office was actually happening right in front of her. What was this place turning into? She asked herself. In a few hours, she looked at her time. It was almost lunch break, and she was happy to leave this desk, go out, stretch her legs, and get something to eat. This was her favorite part of the day. This was the time she got away from prying eyes and gossiping lips. As she was packing up her desk to leave for lunch, she turned and saw a woman. She was dressed in a skirt suit that exuded luxury. Her perfume fragrance was so strong you could smell it from a distance. Her hair was packed in a low bun, and her face was well made up. She walked up to Ophelia with a smile and an outstretched hand. "Hello, I'm Cynthia. It's nice to meet you, Ophelia," the woman said. Ophelia looked at her with furrowed brows. Taking the woman's hand, she asked, "I'm sorry, I don't know you." "Yes, you don't, Ophelia, but I know you. My boss sent me to prepare you for the wedding. Can you follow me?" the woman said. Not wanting any of her colleagues to hear what the woman was saying to her, and how her mother had been so terrible to set her up with someone that she did not know, she quickly led the woman outside. She didn't want this matter to become another story at the office. "Yes, you were saying something. I didn't quite get you." "I know you got me, Ophelia, but I'm going to repeat it again. My boss sent me to prepare you for the wedding. I'm sure your mother has told you about my boss's proposal. I would like us to go to several shops and pick certain things that you will need for the wedding," she said as she raised her hand, and a limo parked in front of them. The driver got out of the limo to open the door. The woman stepped into the limo, and Ophelia slid in beside her. Throughout the ride to the store, the woman made no comments at all. She just looked through her tablet and kept scrolling through different messages. Ophelia kept looking at her from time to time, trying to figure out who her boss was and what her boss wanted. She decided to keep quiet and see how everything would play out. In a few minutes, they stopped at LV Bridal Boutique. It was one of the well-known bridal boutiques in London, known for their intricate designs and high-end service. The limo came to a stop in front of the building as the driver came to open the door for the ladies to get out. Once they got out, Cynthia led the way. She turned to smile at Ophelia, and Ophelia became confused. This was a woman who did not even look at her throughout the car ride to this place, and then all of a sudden she smiled at her. "What an awkward personality that is," she said to herself. "This place was specifically chosen by my boss for you. The attendant will meet your every desire. Whatever type of dress you would like to pick, it's on my boss. He wants you to have nothing but the best," she said, as if giving a recital. Did this woman memorize what she's saying to me right now? What's going on here? She thought to herself, looking at the woman with raised brows. Once the woman was done talking, she turned and started walking in. For a split second, Ophelia thought maybe this woman might be a robot because of the way she handled everything. When they got in, an attendant came to them. "Hello, ladies, how may we help you?" "We would like to see some of your special pieces," Cynthia said. "This is the bride-to-be, and I want nothing but the best for her," she said, touching Ophelia's arm to gesture who the bride was. "We have something for her, please follow me," the attendant said. They both followed the woman who gestured for them to sit down and brought some bubbly drinks for them. "I'll be right back," she said. In a few minutes, she got back with a rack of designs. "Our dresses are uniquely eye-catching and high class. This is our special collection. This collection is one of a kind. If you buy it from us, you are the only one who will have this particular design in the whole world," she told them, letting them know how special their boutique took the designs. Ophelia sat speechless, sipping on her champagne. She had to go with the flow until there was no more fluid to go with. Would you like to try the clothes?" the woman said, looking at Ophelia. No thank you. I'd rather just sit here and look at everything," Ophelia responded. Cynthia had an awkward look on her face. "Please, can you give us just a few seconds to speak with each other?" The attendant nodded in response and excused herself. "So, what is that for? Why are you behaving like this?" Cynthia asked. "I want to know just one thing. Who is your boss?" Ophelia asked quizzically. "That is something you don't need to know," All you need to know is that he has basically paid for your shopping today and you have to take any dress, any shoes, whatever you may need for the wedding today. So, you're not going to tell me who your boss is then? Ophelia, it's better you don't ask. Okay then, can I excuse myself? I would like to use the ladies' room. Okay, but please make sure you don't run away because then there will be a price to pay, the woman said with a hidden meaning. Ophelia's tummy turned in fear. Maybe her mother had sold her to the mafia for all she knew. But what was she to do at this point in time? She wanted to speak to her sister. She was the only one that she could talk to right now. She went into the bathroom, took her phone out, and called her sister. On the first ring, she picked up. Hey sis, how is it going? How is work? Her sister said at the other end. It's not going very well. Did you know that Mother has arranged a marriage for me that is supposed to happen in a few days' time? She asked her sister. Ophelia, it was today that Mother was telling me about that. I thought she was just joking. No, Jeanette, she's not joking. A woman just showed up at my workplace during lunch and asked me to follow her to go shopping for the wedding. It means that our mother has just sold me out. And imagine the woman telling me not to run away or there will be a price to pay. Okay, Ophelia, please breathe. It's not that bad. Just go with the flow. Let's see where this is going. In the meantime, don't think too much. Maybe it's just a prank Mama's trying to pull on you. Jeanette, a prank? Did you say prank? This prank is not funny, and I have never known our mother to play pranks. I know that she is serious. Haven't you seen of late she has been mentioning wedding? I don't know who she went to beg to get married to me now because that's exactly what it feels like. Just calm down, Ophelia. Please call me back when you are through. Let's talk, or you can come over to the house. I'm not coming over to the house at all. I'll call you when I'm done. Love you. Love you too. With the call ended, she tucked it back into her bag and went out to meet the woman who was sitting, waiting for her. Miss Cynthia, I don't think this is going to work between me and your boss. It's better you go and tell him that it's not going to work. Ophelia, I knew you would say that, but I need to inform you that a breach of contract will attract punishment. What do you mean by punishment?